Hey everybody, hope you're having a good day. I'm really excited about this new product called Fireworks. This is part of our VFX Elements product line, and it has 25 really beautiful and realistic firework animations. When you purchase it, what you can do is go to the starter kit, and in the starter kit you're going to have little animation samples of all 25 of these fireworks. Go ahead and watch those and pick the animation that you want. Then go to your download section and download that number. So right now I'm going to show you how to use number 13. So in the download, there's going to be a Redshift version as well. If you're not using Redshift, you can just go ahead and skip that download, but download the VDB and the particles. And also download the projectiles, you're gonna need those. So once you've downloaded them onto your hard drive, you can unzip them and you're gonna have a series of folders. Here we have our projectiles, and then also Fireworks 13, which has individual burst particles, individual burst volume, and then it has 3 folders of particles and 3 of volumes. And then also in your starter kit, you're gonna have preset scenes for Octane and Redshift. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the Octane version. And right now I'm just gonna show you the individual bursts first, and then I will go to the multiple bursts. All right, so here's the scene that comes as a starter for the individual burst. And all you have to do is replace the particles and the volume, and then you're ready to go. All right, so here's our volume right here. And we're gonna go to the volume and we'll just replace it with that 13. So go to your folder with 13 and go to the individual burst volume, and you can go ahead and load that. All right, for the particles, what we have is an Octane scatter that is referencing this Alembic file right here with the particles. So right now we need to replace this firework file, this Alembic. Let's just go and delete that. We need to replace that with the animation from number 13. So instead of opening it, what we're gonna do is go to File Merge. And under File Merge, let's go back to that folder here, and let's find the individual burst particles. And this is going to be the top one, which is the ABC. This is an Alembic. Click on that. And when you bring in your Alembic into Octane, it might be set to default by as particle geometry. Make sure to change that under points. We're going to change that to as polygon object and hit OK. And then we have this ABC file, which we can drag above the Octane scatter. Go to that Octane scatter, and under that surface slot, just drag that new one. And now we have our particles, and they are going to be exploding, and we have our volume, which is going to have this smoke that is attached to it. And these are already set up with the correct settings, so you're basically all set here. Let's go ahead and fire this up as a render just to show you really quick. All right, so here's our particles. And the smoke is a little bit hard to see in this animation. If you want to play with the smoke, you can just go to the volume and go to medium. And you can play with any of these settings in here. If you want to make it a bit more obvious, you can maybe play around with the colors on these, or you could go to the density and the volume step length and play with these as well. And you're going to start to see this smoke trails a little bit more. If you want to change the color of this firework, you can just change the texture on this sphere. We have a few presets as well if you want to change it to a blue or a purple. All right, so that is the individual burst. One thing I do want to mention is that if you go to the beginning of the animation, sometimes the particles will still be on before the burst or afterwards. So if we go to the end of this animation, you can see that we have a couple particles here that did not disappear. So what you can do is just scrub through the timeline to the point where they should disappear, right about here. You can go to that Octane scatter under Visible in Editor and Renderer, turn that on, make a keyframe, go 1 frame down, and then turn that off. And that way you will force those particles to turn off. It's just a little bit of a glitch in the way that Octane looks at Alembic files, but there's a quick workaround for that. All right, so that is the single individual burst. And what you can do now is you can just duplicate that, and you can very easily just move this around. You can put them wherever you want in your scene, and you can put a different texture color on there. And now you have 2 different bursts. So this is a great way to really dial in your scene and put these exactly where you want them to. It's a lot easier to work with as well. If you want to offset the timing of these, you can go to the volume, and under VDB there is a offset here. So if you change that to 30, and then you could go into the Alembic file, and there is also a offset here which you can turn to 30. And then the animation will start 30 seconds later. And like I said, you'll have to go into the beginning and keyframe that off so that it starts at frame 30 and add a keyframe, but that's how you would have them offset in time. All right, so that is the individual burst, how you would use it. pretty easy to use. And now we'll jump into the preset scene with multiple bursts, which we've already set up. And the cool thing about this one is that we've also included these projectiles, which are these streamers coming up out of the ground and then leading into the explosion, which is really cool. So we're gonna take this one step at a time. We'll turn off 2 and 3. And actually, let's just do the projectiles first. I've already set these up on my computer, and if you set them up once and save it, you'll already have them on your computer as well. But the first time that you do it, you'll have to go to that VDB, download the projectiles, and then go to the projectile trail VDB and load that one up into here. And then under projectile and projectile trail, we have particles. So we're gonna have to merge those in like we have in the previous one. So go to File, Merge, and let's go to projectiles, and let's go to that ABC. We'll merge that in, making sure that points is as polygon object. And let's drag that on top of this one and delete the old one. Go into the scatter and drag the projectiles onto the surface. And you can do the same with the projectile trail, which if you go to File, Merge, and go back to your folder structure, it would be this projectiles trail right here. So you should be able to just do this once and then hit save, and then it will reference the file on your hard drive perfectly. And now you're gonna have these really great projectile streamers that have particles all over them. And if we go to Octane Render here, we can see what these look like. All right, so now you can see that we have these streamers that are coming up out of the ground, and they also have little particles shooting off of them, and it adds a lot of realism to your scene. Once we have our projectiles, we need to add the fireworks. So like before, we're gonna go to 1, and we're gonna replace it with that number 13 that we wanted to. This is under number 1, so we're gonna go to our folder structure as we did before. But this time, instead of going to the individual burst folders, we're gonna go to the smoke 1, 2, and 3. So we'll just load in that VDB. We'll go to number 2 and go to that VDB, and we'll go to that folder 13, smoke 2, load that one in. And for number 3, we'll do the same. We'll go to that folder structure on our computer, folder 13, and we'll go to smoke 3. And just like that, we have all of our VDBs set up. All right, so now we need to do our particles, and we're just gonna merge those in. So we'll go to File, Merge Project, and we'll go to that folder and look for particles 1, and we'll merge that ABC file into here, hit OK, drag it on top, delete the old one, and go to the scatter and drag the new one into that surface. And if we scrub through here, you can see that we now have that little explosion, and we'll do the same with 2 and 3. So we'll go to File, Merge, we'll go to Color 2, Particles 2, hit OK. Bring that in, drag it on top, delete the bottom one, go to Particles, drag and drop. 2 is done. Now we'll go to 3. Go to File, Merge Project. We'll go to Particles 3. Bring in the ABC, hit OK, drag and drop it on top of the fireworks, delete the old one, and drag and drop to the surface, and we are done. All right, so now you can see that we have this beautiful animation set up. Everything's timed out perfectly. We got the particles, we got the trails, we got the smoke. All right, so the only issue now that we have is that these particles are on before they're supposed to. So it's a really easy fix. Like I mentioned before, here is the first one. We'll just scrub till we see it turning on right there. We'll go to our basic, and under visible in editor, we're gonna turn it off, make a keyframe, go for 1 frame, and then we'll turn them on and make another keyframe. And that way they're gonna be off and they will click on exactly when they're supposed to. And if we do that for all 3 of these, our animation will be complete. And now you have a beautiful fireworks display that has everything. It has trails and smoke and bursts, particles, everything looks great. And we used Animation 13 for all 3 of these, but if you want to mix and match and have a different style, you could easily have number 2 have a different animation style and number 3 have a different one. And that way you can really customize the look that you're after, and you can have a lot of variety in your animation. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this fireworks product. I'm very proud of the way that it turned out, and I hope you find it useful. Thanks for checking out the Pixel Lab. We'll talk to you next time.